What's up everyone? Welcome to the Astro Time Machine. This is a professional compendium of advanced Western Vedic synthesis tools for karmic backlog analysis and temporal navigation. In this video, we're going to look at original framework, combining composite charts, secondary progressions, planetary returns, annual profections, zodiacal releasing, Vedic dashas, harmonic analysis, as well as midpoint theory. And really quick, I want to give a shout out to Gemini AI agent for helping craft this PDF compendium. This is for serious practitioners seeking precision instruments beyond the ordinary needle chart. So here we see the contents that we're going to go over in this video. First is the philosophical framework and dual system foundations. We're going to look at the Astro Time Machine architecture, secondary progressions and solar arc directions, planetary return charts and natal aspect activation, annual profections, the yearly clock, zodiacal releasing, the fate timeline, composite charts and relationship temporal layers, Vedic integration, dashas, Ashtaka and sidereal overlay, karmic backlog diagnostic protocol, work professional examples, synthesis protocols for client work, and there's two appendixes. So first is key formulas and computational notes, and the second is reference tables. We're going to look at orbs, periods, and lords. So beginning with the philosophical framework and dual system foundations, advanced astrology ceases to be predictive decoration the moment the practitioner accepts that time is layered. Karmic residue is measurable, and Western tropical and Vedic sidereal systems are complementary instruments rather than rival churches. This compendium treats both systems as necessary halves of a single precision engine. I also believe the reason that a lot of these astrologers on YouTube who call themselves astrologers mainly just talk about Western astrology. They never talk about Vedic astrology. They don't believe in it. But it all goes back to racism. It all goes back to racism. Also, please like, subscribe, comment, share if you dare, and care with peace and love. So the two clocks of the soul. We see Western tropical astrology measures the relationship of the Earth to the seasons, the solar year as experienced from the terrestrial biosphere. And it is exquisitely sensitive to psychological development, personal will, and the unfolding of character through time. We see Vedic Jyotish sidereal astrology measures the relationship of the Earth to the fixed stars, the actual galactic background. It is exquisitely sensitive to karmic timing, dasha periods, and the fruition of past life patterns. When both clocks are read together, the practitioner gains access to both the how of development and the when of karmic release. So now is the karmic backlog defined. Karmic backlog is any unresolved pattern that continues to generate repetitive life circumstances until consciously integrated or discharged. In chart language, it appears as the south node, K2 placements, and the rulers, Saturn by sign, house, aspects, and dignity, 12th house planets and the 12th house ruler, retrograde planets, especially personal and critical degrees, afflicted moon or Lagna Lord in the Vedic chart, unaspected or tightly aspected outer planets carrying generational weight, fixed star conjunctions of a difficult nature, Algol, Ski, etc. So the Astro Time Machine does not merely identify these signatures, it calculates the precise temporal windows in which the backlog becomes available for resolution through the combined action of progressions, returns, profections, zodiacal releasing periods, and Vedic dashas. The principle of temporal resonance. Synthesis principle. Karmic backlog reaches maximum availability for conscious work when 3 or more independent timing systems converge on the same natal signature within a defined orb of time. This convergence is called a resonance gate. The professional's task is to locate resonance gates and prepare the client for the work they contain. So here's the Astro Time Machine architecture. The Astro Time Machine is not a single technique. We'll call it the ATM. It is a hierarchical stack, of temporal lenses applied to the same natal radical. Each layer answers a different question about the same life. So we see that natal is, of course, on top. We have progressed, we have returns, we have profections, we have zodiacal releasing, and we have dashas. So now we're looking at the layer functions. We have the layer, primary question, as well as the key technique. You see natal radical. This primary question is, what is the soul's architecture? The key technique is tropical and sidereal birth charts. Secondary progressions. We're asking, how is the psyche evolving year by year? And day for your symbolic time. Solar arc directions. What outer events mirror inner growth? 1 degrees equals 1 year arc. Planetary returns. When does the planetary principle reset? Solar, lunar, Saturn, Jupiter returns. Annual profections. Which house topic rules this year? Hellenistic yearly clock. Zodiacal releasing. What is the current chapter of fate? From spirit, fortune, valence, and Vedic dashas. What karmic fruit is ripening now? Vimshottari, Yokini, etc. So there's a lot to go over here. So essentially, when the same natal planet or house is activated simultaneously by a progressed aspect, a return chart emphasis, a profected lord, a zodiacal releasing level 1 or 2 period, and a dasha lord, the practitioner is looking at a high probability resonance gate. And these are the moments the ATM is designed to isolate. So secondary progressions and solar arc directions. It's secondary progressions. It's day for a year. And the progressed moon, it moves approximately 1 degree per month. It's the primary timer of emotional circumstantial shifts. Progress sun, progress Mercury, progress Venus, and progress Mars moves more slowly and mark longer developmental chapters. Progressed ascendant and progressed midheaven are calculated by advancing the RAMC. So the key professional uses here, we see progressed moon changing signs or houses, emotional climate shift 2 to 2.5 years per sign, progressed planet stationing, prolonged emphasis on that principle, progressed planet aspecting natal planet, internal readiness for the theme of the aspect, progressed new full moon, major chapter openings and culminations. Solar arc directions. So these advance every point in the chart by the same arc that the secondary progressed sun has traveled. Because the arc is uniform, essay contexts are especially clean for event timing. A common professional rule is that major life events frequently coincide with essay context to angles or to the rulers of angles within 1 degree. We see the formula approximate here. Solar arc equals the progressed sun longitude subtracting the natal sun longitude, and apply that same arc to every planet and angle. Integration with karmic backlog. When a secondary progressed or solar arc planet activates a natal south node K2, the same thing here, Saturn, or 12th house planet, essentially the backlog associated with that point is brought into conscious range. And the quality of the aspect, whether it's a conjunction or a square, trine, etc., describes the mode of activation, whether it's crisis, opportunity, or steady pressure. And so planetary return charts. The planetary return chart is cast for the exact moment a transiting planet returns to its natal longitude. Most commonly used are solar, which is annual, lunar, which is monthly, Jupiter, which is 12 years, and Saturn, which is 29.5 years. So the genius of return charts lies not only in the return chart itself, but in how the return chart's planets and angles aspect the natal chart, thereby activating natal configurations. So solar return methodology. Calculate the exact time the sun returns to its natal longitude. Use the location of interest, birthplace, current residence, or intended location for the year. Cast the chart for that moment, and then begin to examine the solar return ascendant and its ruler, planets in the angles of the return, the house position of the return sun, major aspects formed by return planets to natal planets, the condition of any natal planet that rules the return ascendant. Alright, return charts as natal aspect activators. We see this OT, natal aspect ignition via return. When a planet in the return chart forms a tight aspect, which is lesser than 2 degrees to a natal planet that is itself part of a natal configuration, for example, a natal T-square or grand trine, the entire natal configuration is ignited for the duration of the return period. This is especially potent when the return planet is angular in the return chart. So, now we see Saturn return as karmic audit. First Saturn return, ages 28 through 30. 2nd, 57 through 59 function as major karmic audits. In the ATM protocol, the Saturn return chart is examined for where Saturn falls in the Saturn return chart relative to the natal Ketu, whether the return Saturn aspects natal planets that carry backlog signatures, the house of the return chart that contains the natal Saturn, concurrent profection and dasha conditions that may amplify or soften the return. Annual profection is a yearly clock, so these are a Hellenistic timing technique in which each year of life is assigned a successive house of the natal chart. Beginning with the first house at birth, the ruler of the profected house becomes the lord of the year and is examined in both the natal chart and by current transit progression. So we see this calculation here. Age divided by 12, its remainder determines the house. Remainder 0, 12th house year. Remainder 1 is the first house year. Remainder 11, 11th house year. Equivalently, count whole houses from the ascendant equal to the age, mode 12. And professional use here with the karmic backlog. When the profected house is the 12th, 6th, or the 8th, or when the lord of the year is a ruler of the south, now Ketu, or Saturn, the year is marked as potential backlog clearing year. Concurrent activation by progression or dasha elevates it to a resonance gate. So now here's a quick reference table for the perfected house by age, mode 12. So we see first 0, 12, 24, 36, the perfected house is the 12th. The typical themes being retreat, release, hidden enemies, and spiritual work. 1, 13, 25, 37, the first, identity, body, new beginnings. And it goes all the way to 2, 14, 26, 38, second, resources, values, self-worth. 3, 15, 27, 39, third, communication, siblings, short travel. 4, 16, 28, 40, fourth, home, roots, family, private life. 5, 17, 29, 41, the fifth, creativity, children, romance, and risk. 6, 18, 30, and 42 is the sixth of work, health, service, and obstacles. 7, 19, 31, 43 is the seventh of partnerships, open enemies, contracts. 8, 20, 32, 44, the eighth, shared resources, crisis transformation. 9, 21, 33, 45, the ninth, beliefs, higher learning, long travel. 10, 22, 34, 46, the 10th, career, reputation, authority. 11, 23, 35, 47, the 11th, friends, groups, hopes, patronage. And let's talk about Zodiac releasing the fate timeline. Recovered from Vitis Valens is one of the most powerful long-term timing techniques available. It divides the life into chapters and paragraphs according to the periods of the signs, starting from either the lot of spirit, career, actions, reputation, or the lot of fortune, body, health, material circumstances. So the core mechanism, each sign is assigned a period in years, which is level 1. So Cancer 25, Leo is 19, Virgo is 20, Libra is 8, Scorpio is 15, Sag is 12, Capricorn is 27, Aquarius is 30, Pisces is 12, Aries is 15, Taurus 8, Gemini 20. So from the starting lot, the life unfolds through successive signs according to these periods. Level 2 subdivides each level 1 period into the same sign sequence on a smaller scale, months, and we see further levels exist for still finer resolution. Peak periods and angular signs. So when the releasing period reaches a sign that is angular relative to the lot or contains a benefic malefics in the natal chart, the period is intensified. Angular signs to spirit or fortune are especially potent for major life developments. The presence of the domicile lord of the period in an angular house further amplifies the chapter. So CR and karmic backlog, level 1 or level 2 period that activates the sign of Ketu, Saturn, or the 12th house ruler constitutes a major backlog processing chapter. When this coincides with a Saturn return, a profected 12th house year, or a heavy dasha, the practitioner is looking at a multi-year window of high karmic availability, ideal for deep therapeutic or spiritual work. Composite charts, or midpoint method, and Davison relationship charts provide a third entity, the relationship itself, that can be progressed, profectioned, and examined under returns just as a natal chart can. This opens an entire additional temporal dimension for couples, business partnerships, creative collaborations. So composite construction for each planet and angle, compute the midpoint and longitude between the two natal positions' shortest arc, and the resulting set of midpoints forms a composite chart. House cusps are derived from the composite midheaven and composite ascendant or by other accepted methods. Temporal techniques apply to composites. Secondary progress the composite as if it were a birth chart day for a year from the midpoint date or from relationship start. Cast solar returns for the composite sun. Apply annual perfections to the composite ascendant. Examine transits to composite planets and angles with the same seriousness as natal transits. In karmic relationship backlogs, when the composite Ketu, Saturn, or 12th house emphasis is activated by progression or return, the relationship itself is processing shared karmic material. Concurrent activation in both individual charts elevates the work to a joint resonance gate, often experienced as a make or break period that either deepens the bond through conscious labor or dissolves it. Vedic integration. So no Western temporal system alone matches the granular karmic timing precision of the Vimshottari Dasha system. The Astro time machine therefore treats Vedic dashas as a co-equal layer rather than an optional overlay. Vimshottari Dasha essentials. The 120-year cycles divided among the 9 grahas according to fixed periods. Ketu 7, Venus 20, Sun 6, Moon 10, Mars 7, Rahu 18, Jupiter 16, Saturn 19, Mercury 17. And the starting dasha is determined by the nakshatra of the moon at birth. Subperiods or bhuktis and further subdivisions allow timing to the level of days. Synthesis rule, dasha and Western timer. So when a dasha or bhukti lord is simultaneously activated by a Western technique, progressed aspect, profected lord, ZR period, or return emphasis, the probability of significant manifestation rises sharply. This is one of the most reliable resonance gate indicators in the entire system. Ashtaka strength filter. Ashtaka provides a quantitative measure of planetary and house strength through Bindu counts. In the time machine protocol, Dasha Lord or perfected Lord that also holds high Ashtaka points in the relevant houses is considered empowered to deliver results, positive or challenging according to nature, while low Bindu counts suggest the period may be muted or internalized. In Sidewell versus Tropical, Practical Protocol, maintain both charts. Use Tropical for psychological development, free will choices, and secondary progressions, and use Sidewell Lahiri for Dasha calculation, nakshatra analysis, and karmic timing. When a planet's tropical and Sidewell house placements differ, treat the dual testimony as added nuance rather than contradiction. Alright, on to Karmic Backlog Diagnostic Protocol. This protocol is the operational heart of the ATM, and it converts the layered techniques into a repeatable professional procedure. So karmic backlog to the diagnosis, to the time to release. We see South Node Ketu, matches up with unresolved aspects, matches up with activation windows, matches up with the 12th house Saturn, matches up fixed stars and GC, release strategy, as well as past Dasha residue. So the step-by-step protocol here. Step 1 is map the backlog signatures. Identify the natal Ketu, Saturn, 12th house planets, afflicted moon, Lagna Lord, and any difficult fixed star conjunctions. Note the houses they rule and the aspects they form. Scan current temporal layers. Calculate current secondary progress aspects, solar arc contexts, active planetary returns, annual perfection, and Lord of the Year, current ZR level 1 and 2 from Spirit and Fortune, as well as current Vimshottari Dasha Bhukti. Step 3 is to detect resonance gates. Flag any natal backlog signature that is activated by 3 or more independent timers within a 6-month window. Rank gates by number of converging systems and by the angularity of the activation. Step 4 is to characterize the work, determine whether the gate is primarily cathartic, hard aspects, malefic involvement, integrative, benefic involvement, trine sextiles, or structural, Saturn and angles. Design client recommendations accordingly. Therapy, ritual, practical restructuring, or spiritual practice. And step 5 is to monitor and iterate, reevaluate each major period change, new dasha, new perfection year, new ZR level 1, progress moon sign change, update the backlog map, the signatures resolve, or new ones emerge. In worked professional examples, we're also going to get into the synthesis and then appendixes. So, with our worked professional examples here, we see example A being the first Saturn return with 12th house perfection. This is, of course, fictional, anonymized. So Ascendant at 14 degrees Scorpio, Saturn's at 22 degrees Capricorn in the 3rd house, squaring natal moon in Libra, Ketu at 9 degrees Virgo in the 11th. At age 29, the native enters a 12th house perfection year, while the Saturn return chart places return Saturn conjunct the natal Ketu within 1.5 degrees. Concurrently, the native is running Saturn Moon Bhukti in the Vedic chart. So we interpret triple activation of Saturn in Ketu in 12th house here equals high probability resonance gate for backlog related to emotional self-sufficiency and group identity wounds. That's the 11th house node. The recommendation is structured solitude therapy focused on early peer rejection and deliberate simplification of social obligations for the duration of the year. Example B is composite activation during the shared dasha. Two partners have a composite Saturn, tightly square composite Venus. One partner enters Venus dasha, while the other is in Saturn Bhukti. Simultaneously, the composite solar return places the return sun on the composite Saturn. The relationship experiences a 14-month period of renegotiating commitment structures. The composite configuration is being ignited by both individual dashas and the composite return. This is a joint karmic audit of the relationship's value system and durability. Conscious renegotiation yields a stronger bond, while avoidance yields separation under the next hard transit. In example C, zodiacal releasing peak with progressed moon. CZR from Spirit enters a level 1 period of the sign containing natal Mars angular. Midway through the period, the secondary progressed moon conjuncts the natal Mars. Career acceleration and conflict both spike because Mars also rules the natal 10th. The period delivers visible professional advancement, accompanied by the need to manage aggression and competition consciously. And onto the synthesis protocols for client work. So client session structure. Present the natal backlog map in plain language. Show the current resonance gates on a simple timeline next 18 to 36 months. For each major gate, describe the theme, the likely external circumstances, and the recommended inner work or practical action. Distinguish between gates that are primarily psychological, relational, material, or spiritual, and leave the client with a written one-page gate calendar. Ethical notes. Timing techniques describe availability and pressure. They do not remove agency. Always frame resonance gates as opportunities for conscious participation rather than inevitable fate. When a gate is severe, emphasize preparation and support resources rather than alarm. In continuing development, mastery of the ATM requires repeated practice on known life events retrospectively before prospective use. Maintain a personal research log of resonance gates and outcomes. Over time, the practitioner develops an intuitive sense for which combinations of timers are most potent for different types of backlog. In Appendix A shows key formulas and computational notes. Secondary progression date, we see the progressed date equals birth date, adding age in years, days. More precisely, add 1 day for each year of life, then calculate planetary positions for that progressed date. Solar arc, so SA equals longitude of secondary progressed sun, subtracting the longitude of natal sun. Directed position of any point equals natal position, adding SA. Annual perfection house, perfected house number equals age mode 12, adding 1. If result equals 13, treat as 1, or count age houses forward from the ascendant, 0-based remainder. Lot of spirit, fortune for day birth, fortune equals ascendant, adding moon, subtracting sun. Spirit equals ascendant, adding sun, subtracting moon, and we reverse the moon-sun terms for night births in classical usage. And Vimswathari, starting dasha, determine the nakshatra occupied by the natal moon sidereal. The lord of that nakshatra rules the first dasha. Balance of the first dasha equals the remaining degrees in nakshatra, divided by 13 degrees 20, multiplied by full dasha period. In Appendix B, reference tables for Vimswathari dasha periods, the Lord, years. So we see Ketu, 7 years, Rahu, 18 years, Venus, 20 years, Jupiter, 16 years, Sun, 6 years, Saturn is 19 years, Moon is 10 years, Mercury is 17 years, Mars is 7 years, in regards to its Vimswathari dasha periods. So zodiacal releasing level 1 periods in years, we look at the sign, years. So we see Aries, 15, Libra, 8, Taurus, 8, Scorpio, 15, Gemini, 20, Sagittarius is 12, Cancer is 25, Capricorn is 27, Leo is 19, Aquarius is 30, and Virgo is 20, Pisces is 12. Recommended orbs for resonance gate detection: progress solar arc aspects 1 degrees, return to natal aspects 2 degrees, profection exact for the year, CR level 1 exact for the period, Dasha Bhukti exact for the period. Titan orbs with multiple systems already converge. Alright, thank you. That is the end of this compendium. I'll see you in the next video. Piscean out.